Good morning. We are in a series on telling the story. It's the last chapter in our devotional book, and I think my favorite tool for telling the story, particularly in the cultural context that we are currently in, is the Gospel in Competition chart. Our author references it in his final section, and it might look familiar to you because a couple weeks ago I used it in a message. But it's worth revisiting to make a couple points that I didn't make then. And just remind you of the flow of it. You'll notice the icons across the top. And then underneath those icons in the second block are the names of the Gospels, like the forgiveness only gospel, the gospel of the left, the prosperity gospel, and so on. And then in the third block is the actual emphasis of the gospel, be it forgiveness, helping the needy, so forth. And then the final block is what each gospel creates, because the gospel that we believe and the gospel that we preach will determine the disciples that we make. Now, buried in a footnote is a helpful insight, and I'll just kind of paraphrase it for you. The author says, note that the competing gospels each contain a measure of truth. The true gospel includes forgiveness. That's the forgiveness only gospel. We are called to help the needy. That's the gospel of the left. God cares for our well-being. That's the prosperity gospel. But then he goes on to make this very clarifying statement. The issue is a lack of balance among all the essentials, which only happens when we understand the gospel that Jesus taught. A gospel about Jesus as the atoning king, his coming kingdom, and the need to follow him as Lord. When we understand that, all the truths find their place and balance with one another. So the key distinctive, you'll remember in being able to sort all this out, is that the competing gospels are all focused on self. Whereas the kingdom gospel that Jesus teaches is all about denying self, picking up your cross daily, and following him. Now, here's what I would suggest you do. You take a look at that chart and just kind of rate, the 2 or 3 gospels on that chart that have influenced you the most. You might even want to try to rank them in order. And I think it'll help you to start sorting out the gospel that Jesus taught. Have a good day.